and welcome back to the Happiness Hack with Tim Coulson. I am so glad you're here. If you've been following along, then you'll know that in this podcast, we explore the science of happiness and how we can use practical, evidence-based tools to feel more alive, more connected, and more grounded in our everyday life. Today, we're going to be diving into something that can change the way you see the world, literally. It's a small but mighty connection network in your brain called the Reticular Activating System, the RAS for short. This is your filter, the lens, the brain's own spotlight operator. Once you understand how it works, you'll realize just how much power you have in shaping your own reality. Because here's the big truth. What you focus on expands. Your brain can't pay attention to everything all at once, so it selects what you see, and what you focus on becomes your world. So let's start with the basics. The RAS is a bundle of nerves and interconnected brain networks at the base of your brain. It's like the bouncer of your nightclub. Thousands of thoughts, sounds, and sensations are trying to get in every day. But the RAS acts as the bouncer and decides what makes it past that velvet rope. Imagine right now you're listening to me, but in the background there might be the hum of your fridge, the ticking of a clock, or the neighbour's dog barking. Your brain could pay attention to all of that, but it doesn't. Why? Because your RAS has filtered those things out. It's constantly scanning and asking, what's important right now? What deserves to be in the spotlight? And that's where your experience shapes your reality. So here's a fun example. Have you ever learned a new word and then suddenly you hear it everywhere? Or maybe you buy that new car and suddenly the world is full of the same cars. It's not that the cars or the words weren't there before, it's that your RAS has flipped the switch. It's decided, okay, this matters now. I need to focus on it. That's your RAS in action. Your perception shapes your reality. So here's the aha moment. The world around you doesn't change. You change. You change your focus. And when you change that, your experience of the world changes with it. Think of your RAS like that Instagram algorithm. If you stop and watch one video about dogs, then suddenly your feed is filled with puppies. If you click on one conspiracy video, suddenly the algorithm thinks you want more of that too. Your brain is running that same kind of algorithm. If you focus on problems, your RAS highlights more problems. If you focus on opportunities, your RAS highlights more opportunities. In psychology, this connects to something called confirmation bias. We naturally notice evidence that supports what we already believe. If you think the world is hostile, you'll see rudeness everywhere. If you think people are kind, you'll spot moments of generosity all around you. The RAS is basically the engine behind that process. It's the brain system that determines which bits of the information get through and which bits get blocked. This is where it gets powerful. Once you realize this, you can start training your RAS. The RAS was first studied back in the 1940s and 50s by Italian scientists. They discovered that stimulating this part of the brain could wake animals up, while cutting it off sent them into a deep sleep. That's how we first learned that the reticular activating system was central to arousal and attention. Since then, neuroscience has shown that the RAS is deeply involved in focus and attention, deciding what you notice, your sleep and wake cycles, regulating your alertness, motivation and goal pursuit, filtering the signals based on what your brain has tagged as important. So the modern twist is, brain imaging shows that when people consciously set their intentions, like writing down goals or visualizing an outcome, then the RAS system lights up. It literally reprograms what you notice. That's why practices like gratitude journals, affirmations, or vision boards aren't just woo-woo. They're ways of giving instructions to your RAS. This is what matters to me. Show me more of this. So let's make this more concrete. Ever notice that when you start house hunting or car shopping, every for sale sign pops out like a neon light? Your RAS is on the lookout for it. When you've just had that baby, suddenly you see prams, nappies, and baby products everywhere. Your RAS is tuned into it. Athletes use this deliberately. The sprinter visualizes the perfect start, and then their RAS helps them spot the tiny cues in the blocks, their body, the starter's pistol. You can even use this in your workplace. Imagine you decide you want to feel more confident in meetings. Suddenly you notice moments where you did speak up, where others reacted positively. That's your RAS collecting evidence for the new story. I once had a client who told me, I just attract toxicity. Everywhere I go, the culture is negative. After a while, they realized it wasn't that the culture was toxic, it was that their RAS was tuned to spotting that negativity. She'd walk into a meeting and immediately notice the frowns, the sighs, the eye rolls. That became her reality. When she started intentionally scanning for moments of support or encouragement, the culture didn't magically change overnight, but her experience of it did. And that's changed how she showed up. That's the power of the RAS. But here's the word of caution. The RAS is neutral. It doesn't care whether it's filtering for things that lift you up or drag you down. It just follows the instructions that you give it. If your self-talk is full of, I'm not good enough, I always fail, people don't like me, then your RAS will gather evidence to prove that that's true. You'll notice every rejection, mistake, those awkward silences. But if you intentionally plant different instructions, I'm learning, I'm growing, people support me, then your RAS will start spotlighting those things. It's like training your search engine. Garbage in equals garbage out. Clear instructions in empowering results. How do you hack this system? Well, there are a few science-based ways. First off, set those clear intentions. Your RAS loves clarity. Vague goals just won't stick. Instead of saying, I want to be healthier, try saying, I'm going to go for a 20-minute walk every morning. That gives your RAS something to spotlight, like noticing the roots, the shoes, those moments of opportunity to get the walk in. Use visualization. Olympic athletes don't just train their bodies, they train their minds. They vividly imagine the event, the routine of it, what they're going to do. They prime their brain to notice the cues. Number 3, write things down. Research shows that writing down your goals or gratitudes helps anchor them into your RAS. It's like leaving those sticky notes for your brain. This is what matters. Hack number 4, prime yourself with questions. Your brain loves those questions. It's a problem solver. So start by asking yourself, what's one thing I could feel grateful for today? What opportunities might show up today? Your RAS will spend the day searching for those answers. Number 5, reframe your negative. When your RAS spotlights something stressful, ask yourself, what else could it mean? The reframe of the experience gradually teaches your RAS to search for a more balanced story. It's not just personal. Entire groups can be shaped by what their collective RAS turns into. Think about the media. If you feed yourself those 24-hour news cycles full of fear and outrage, your RAS will convince you that the world is dangerous and hostile. But if you feed it full of stories of kindness, innovation, and resilience, you'll see a different reality. It's not that one is true and the other is false. It's that your perception is being filtered. That's why choosing your inputs carefully, what you watch, read, and listen to matters. It's really, literally training your RAS. There's two contrasting stories I can share. A man I knew used to say, "Nothing ever works out for me." Sure enough, his RAS kept proving him right. He'd forget those small wins and become excessive over the setbacks. His whole life felt like a string of disappointments. Another person I worked with had a habit of asking, "What's good here?" Even in the tough times, when there was health challenges, she trained her RAS to look for the small wins, a supportive friend, a lesson learned. Her circumstances weren't always easy, but her experience was radically different. It's the same world, but with different filters, which became a different reality. So here's your happiness hack of the week, the practical experiment. I want you to prime your RAS. Each morning, take 60 seconds to set the filter. Ask yourself, what's one thing I want to notice today? It could be kindness, opportunities, moments of calm, reasons to smile. What is one question I want my brain to answer? Something like, what am I grateful for? How can I make progress today? Then let your RAS get to work. You'll be surprised how often the answers start to show up. It's like tuning in your radio. If you set the frequency for gratitude, you'll hear gratitude all day. If you set it for stress, you're going to hear stress. So this week, tune your dial, prime your RAS. Notice how your world begins to shift, because that's the power of the reticular activating system. It's the brain's spotlight that decides what we're going to focus on and what goes into the shadows. It's not magic. It's not wishful thinking. It's neuroscience. And once you understand it, you realize that perception really does shape reality. Remember, the world doesn't change. You do. And when you shift your focus, your experience of the world transforms. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of The Happiness Hack with Tim Coulson. If this resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who might need that little lift today. And if you're ready to make some real positive changes, then jump online and book a session with me by going to my website, tim-coulson.com. Because happiness isn't about having it all together. It's about building something better. One thought, one habit, one moment at a time. I am so glad we're doing this together, and I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, the day is what you make it.